We have a guest here today that I'm really excited about. He's also going to be with us a week from Sunday, tomorrow, on our second ever Live from the Heartland benefit concert.
Support Progressive
Hoedown.
Radio, 3 to 7 o'clock, Red Line Tap, next Sunday, the 26th.
And thanks to both the radio show, the great talent, and of course our own Lonergan Weiss, an incredible lineup of music for that
We're
Sunday
going to have trouble
afternoon.
jamming them all in, but Corky Siegel, Lucy Smith, Maggie Brown, I don't have the list in front of me, but Nicholas Barron.
Is one of them.
Yay.
Now, Nicholas, welcome to Live from the Heartland. Do you want to start with music?
Yeah, based on the subject you guys were just talking about, I'm gonna play one of my favorite songwriters, John Martin. Play a song called "I Don't Want to Know," and just check it out.
It's not on.
I don't wanna know
Get your hands on.
about evil. I only wanna know about love. I don't wanna know a thing about evil. Well, I only wanna know about love. Sometimes it gets so hard to listen to. It's hard for me to spy. All around the sun is glistening, and I know I've got to compromise. I don't wanna know about evil. I only wanna know about love. I don't wanna know about evil. I only wanna know about love. Waiting for the planes to tumble, waiting for the towers to fall, waiting for the city to crumble, and I'm waiting in the sea to crawl. You know I don't know about evil, no, I only wanna know about love. I don't wanna know, I don't wanna know, I don't wanna know nothing about evil. Oh, I only wanna know about love. I said I don't wanna know, I only wanna know about love. I don't wanna know a thing about evil. Well, I only wanna know about love.
Woo! Yes!
So I was feeling that.
Dang! Listeners out there, I'm looking at the most inked guitar ever while listening to that incredible. I mean, you made this room vibrate just now, Nicholas. We're talking with Nicholas Barron, who has got a concert tomorrow night.
Tonight.
Tonight.
Yep,
It's
tonight.
tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. With British cellist Ben Davis.
Who played? Plays with Bobby McFerrin and some other people, and he's a remarkable cellist. Yeah.
Which reminds me of the fellow we just lost this week.
Al Jarreau,
Al
who I was supposed to open for next Friday.
Oh, wow.
I was supposed to open for Al Jarreau next
See,
Friday, and they called and said, well, he's sick, and then they said he's retiring, and then he died. And it's one of my heroes.
He's what a beautiful soul.
Oh yeah.
And voice, and just talk about spreading love.
Yeah.
Did you write that song?
That's a John Martin song.
Oh.
Martyn, and if people don't know him, he was a Scottish songwriter who influenced. He was best friends with Nick Drake.
Oh.
And influenced literally Jimi Hendrix and Eric Clapton, and the list goes on and on. Dave Matthews, and you can look. I'm on a tribute record called what's a tribute to John Martin. It's got Beck, and it's got The Cure, and it's got David Gray, and it's got all these big people, and I'm on it. Produced by this guy Jim Tulio, who's a big producer.
Oh yeah.
And who lives in Evanston. So
right.
So I'm on that CD, and I do a song called Angeline. But he's one of my. I opened for him a couple times in the early '90s, and he's just one of my heroes.
So, where's this concert? It's in Evanston, right?
It's in Evanston. It's at the Wine Goddess, which is a really funky.
It's a
awesome.
wonderful shop.
You know it?
Oh, yeah.
It's fantastic. John Langford plays there. Nora O'Connor plays there. Jason Narducci plays. A bunch of really great musicians do concerts there. It's 50, 60, 70 people capacity, and
Nice,
yeah,
cozy
it's
house.
my favorite. It's pretty much my favorite place to play because it's so intimate, and usually play there solo. Pretend I'm playing with the cello. So we're doing. Initially, the idea was to do like Valentine's, like love songs, but variations on love. You know. So we're doing that, and so just the way Ben plays, he plays kind of bass, upright bass sounding stuff, and then he plays beautiful string parts, and then solos. And you don't hear cellists that play jazz. And he takes it out too, like he plays.
Really?
Yeah, he's like an avant-garde. Loves Ornette Coleman and Albert Eiler. And like,
You know,
Sounds really sweet.
yeah, it's gonna be cool. Yeah.
You're a very celebrated artist, and when you come back to Chicago, what is it that just makes you sigh with comfort when you arrive home?
Well, I live in Evanston, so I really sigh a big sigh of relief because it does feel like an enclave of peace. And I mean, the coffee shop I go to, which I will promote, Brothers K, where I go every day, has a sign: "Hate is not welcome here." And it's just this on Main Street where I'm actually playing tonight. It's really funny, like Main Street America, but all my favorite shops, all my favorite stores are all on Main Street. No kidding. Guitar Works is there, you know, which is my favorite music store.
Yeah.
I know I'm promoting all these people without they're not paying me anything, but just kidding. But
Don't they also have Vogue Fabrics on Main Street?
Vogue Fabrics.
I love Vogue
I go to
Fabrics.
Vogue Fabrics.
Well, there's Lucky Platter and a few other things. I mean,
Mexican
Starbucks
shop?
opens up across the street, and
Never
Brothers
been
K
there.
is still going strong. I've never been to the Starbucks.
I've never been to Starbucks unless it's Christmas Day because Brothers K doesn't open. I'm like,
It's a
today,
better bean, and it's a
it
better
is.
vibe, and
Yeah.
it's it's always busy.
It's a relationship. My wife and I bought an espresso machine, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna make my own mochas. Well, I did it for about a week, and I was like, there's something missing. It's the relationship. You walk in. I want to write a screenplay because there's a table of older guys in their 70s and 80s, and I call them the Brocade Royals because Brothers K Royals. And it's sit with them, and they know about the history of America, and in the last 50 or 60, 70 years, and they're well read, and they know about sports. They do crosswords and Sudoku, and they're just you have a conversation. I'm in there for 2 or 3 hours at a time, because it's just
I
it's
have
a relationship.
that screenplay in my head from 37 years of running the Heartland.
Oh my
I just don't know
God.
how to actually.
We need to collaborate.
I don't know how to deliver
Yeah.
the sense of being in community in a joint on the corner.
Unless you do it, you can't intellectualize it.
Yeah,
I mean, if
it's
you-
very.
Yeah.
I should have had a microphone going for years because
Yeah.
the jokes, the nuance of looking up when somebody comes in the door and what kind of greeting or not or whatever.
Well, it is the whole Cheers thing, quote unquote,
Oh, yeah.
on
It's
almost
totally-
at another level because, well, it is the Cheers thing. I mean, it's familiarity and it's just knowing, and they know literally the drinks we're getting before we get there.
Right.
I don't have to order. I walk in and it's pretty much waiting for me.
So predictable.
I know.
So
I
I
then
know-
I throw them drinks. Sometimes they don't.
Good.
What? You're not getting them all?
I know we don't have the cello here, but
Yeah.
can you do one of these love songs?
Yeah.
Oh yay!
I'm gonna do. This is an original. This is one called "You Make Everything All Right." It's on my first song on my last record called "Two of One Mind." There ain't no rhyme or reason for this thing called love. When it's right, it's like breathing. That's how I feel about us. I wanted a change that was big. I wanted somebody kind, somebody that really give and make everything alright. You 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 always make me feel better. I know you got my back. You and me, we fit together like an old pair of Levi's. Like, you know, you feed my stomach and you feed my soul. You keep my head, my heart, yeah. Baby, what we got, well, it's like trouble gold. But you're more like a platinum card. You make everything alright. You made everything alright. You made everything alright. You made everything alright. Yeah. You know, I was drowning in the dark abyss. I was falling way down low. But you saved me with your magic kiss that opened up love's door. You threw out love's anchor rope just as I was losing hope. With you I finally got things right. You saved me right on time, made everything alright. Yeah, you made everything alright. Oh, you made everything alright. You made everything will be alright. You make it alright. You make it alright. Everything will be alright.
Not your best all-time song.
Nicholas Barron, you rock, dude. Listen, you
Thank you very much.
you did some extremely important work in the '80s around street musicians. Let's talk about that,
Yes.
because actually, what goes around comes around. Harold Washington in '87 said no to ICE and no to immigration raids in our
Yeah.
city, and at the same time, just the year after he passed, I think, is when you had your Coalition for the Advancement of Street Art.
Yes, and actually, Lynn, Mormon Weiss, is sitting right next to me here.
Yes.
You can't see her.
That
You
blonde
can.
girl.
She's stunning.
Stunning.
Stunning. Sent me an article. I didn't realize this, that there's an alderman who we can try to find out who wants to either abolish it or get rid of it, or the same sort of things. There's a lot of it has to do with volume. It has to do with, it was Alderman Burton Terrace in this ward who always tried to get rid of it because his
Now it's
constituency.
Riley.
Okay, but it's all the same thing, right? It just repeats itself. So there's
You
been
can't have
stories.
noise in Michigan Avenue.
No. You can't have anyone that's
Drummers
not,
doing street music.
Other than the thrum of traffic.
Well, the thing about it is, so the reason I started this group was I wanted to help try to save it, and so me and I don't know, it was probably 4 or 5 or 6 other people started the group, and we got Alderman George Agopian, and I work with the ACLU.
Yeah.
So speaking of relevant subjects,
Yes.
I would call the ACLU, and I would, on a weekly basis, sometimes every day, and I have stories of people who were harassed, fellow musicians, me included. I was thrown in jail for 4 hours, which, by the way, is pretty scary.
No kidding.
For 4 hours, I was like, okay, this is 4 hours. This is all 4 hours. I had people that would, way worse, but it was scary in itself. So because of what I was shut down by this guy. And I said, this guy's trying to take away my First Amendment rights, and I have a right to do this. And it was a full platform at Chicago Avenue, took me in, and the whole deal, man. And it was,
Wow. Scary.
I was young, and I was. I still have conviction, but and all that stuff. But then I was really gung ho and seriously gung ho. Yeah.
So what is being done about addressing Brendan Riley's complaint? Because I did see.
I don't know enough right now.
Okay.
Lynn
look
Gibby
into
said
it.
this to me yesterday, so I'm going to call him or call his office or do something to talk about, because I understand the volume issues. I do understand that. I mean, you live,
Sure.
you work, and people are playing music, and there's the bucket kids, and the argument was always though, and then also trying to get musicians who are really good as opposed to ones that really suck. Well, guess what? In a First Amendment culture, you can't do that.
Right.
You can't assign that.
That's like charter schools.
Right.
They only want your best students.
Right. Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
What's really going on is with the growth of outdoor cafes, they don't want the drum guys nearby. And to my mind, the drum guys are what attracted them to the outdoor cafe to begin with. It's part of the street life of what makes Chicago, Chicago.
Yeah.
So there has to be some kind of blend.
There has to be a
It's
blend.
a public street. We need to figure out a way to accommodate the public.
Well, you know what? It's like everything that we guys are talking about. It's about communication, right? It's about talking to people, talking to the bucket boys, quote unquote, talking to people as opposed to just seeing people and going, they're bad, we need to throw them out and get rid of them.
Yeah.
And that's where the coalition came in, because I was an actual street musician and I'm a musician. And I was the go-between. I would wear suits and I'd go to a meeting with Fred Rohde, who was a criminal, And I like he was talking about how, you know, these loud musicians, and I would, you know, I would say stuff about it. I met with the head of the CTA, and now there are plaques in the CTA that say, I think street performer, or, you know, they say musician. I remember when I saw that, because I hadn't been there for a while, riding the subway, because I did it for so long. I started to cry. It was mind blowing.
I
You
should
know,
think so.
even though, truthfully, in a free culture society, should there be plaques where people stand? I mean, you know, but I get that there are rules and what boundaries and all that. But at the same time, it's strange.
Well, I like your response to go to talking with
Well,
this guy first.
yeah,
and
instead of
that's-
just policing and not like the thing about it is it's a respectful thing. Be respectful and on both sides.
Right.
And tell these guys you guys are loud here, but all it is always a shutdown. And then what ends up happening is people feel disenfranchised, or they feel like
Exactly.
they're
And
part
we
of
end
the
up
system.
privatizing public space, whether it's parking meters or the public sidewalk,
Right.
that public performers can no longer perform in public with. It just
Well, we're
talking
getting
to-
into fascism, which is what's going on with the orange man. So
Yeah.
which is what's happening. And now this is, you know, and we're at the.
I think you can assume the best. Look, Brendan Riley wasn't around in the 80s when you put this struggle together.
Well, I think if he talked to,
If
I
you
talk
give
to
him
him,
the history of that,
I want to talk to him about volume. I want to talk to him because there's
sure.
basically what it is. It's not like just get rid of it, but what you do is there is a volume thing, and the musicians have to be aware of it. And there's a you know, if you gather a large crowd in their street and so that blocks an entrance or it blocks the street, I get all that. We always had to deal with that. But again, it comes down to communication. It comes down to expressing what needs to happen as opposed to just get rid of it. That doesn't work, right? It's just part of a city. It's like what makes the city beat, you know, the pulse of the city is.
Moving back to your artistry, I understand that you were called by James Taylor undeniable.
Yes.
An
I'm not
undeniable
undeniable
artist.
anymore. Haven't been. I don't. Still deniable. I've still been denied. I'm still emerging. No, I was in 2007, which is mind blowing to think that was 10 years ago.
It is mind blowing.
It's mind blowing because it's 2 seconds ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
50 pounds in 2 seconds. No, Gene, I was named basically the launch artist for the New York Times Emerging Artists series at Joe's Pub, and James Taylor, who's one of my heroes of all time.
Sure.
He introduced me, and he introduced my band. I have a 6-piece band, 7-piece band actually, the cello. And it was really funny because James Taylor had a dressing room that was the size of like a football field, and my 6-piece band was in a room like a bathroom, kind
The
of.
living closet.
Isn't that funny? But he knocked on the door and wanted to meet. They said, "Hey, I'd like to." James Taylor would like to meet you. And I'm like, what? You know. So anyway, long story short, we talked for a long time, and it was just he was so, you know. He's such a gentleman. He's so exactly the way you think, and then we did stuff in front of the press and talked and then he introduced us and introduced me and
Sweet.
said I was undeniable, and that's a pretty interesting word actually. I think to say because I'm like undeniable.
So we're going to have Nicholas Barron go out with some live music, and feel free to plug your concert tonight. But next week, from 3 to 7, February 26th at the Red Line Tap, right around the corner from the Heartland Cafe. Corky Siegel, Lucy Smith, the Chicago Blues All-Stars with Michael Dominique, Bucky Hawker, Maggie Brown, Nolan Chin, our engineer, and Dan Kugler, who puts up our web stuff, the Young Strachey All-Stars with Jason McGinnis, Nicholas Barron himself, Kevin Scott Jr., Jan James and Craig Calvert, Stan Champion, Craig Chicklin, Rachel Kane, and I know there are at least 2 others. Maggie
Brown. She was
And
on the list. And Bucky Hawker.
We hope that you can join us. We will have each of those artists doing at least a couple of songs, if not more, as we jam them in between 3 and 7. They're at Glenwood and Lunt.
7006 North Glenwood.
That's a donation which we use through the course of the year to pay our modest expenses to put community progressive radio on the air. We thank you for your support, and it's a great time. Nicholas?
Yes. Thanks for having me. Thanks
Oh,
so much.
Nicholas.
Thanks.
Let's all go out and see Nicholas tonight at the
Wine Goddess.
at the Wine Goddess. on
702
Main
Main Street, 8 to 10 or so. We might play longer because there's been a lot of songs.
Sweet.
Should I play a song?
Yeah.
I'm gonna play this song called Antidote, one of my tunes. It's a blues tune, kind of New Orleans-y blues song.
We're going to say one thing as
Yeah.
you start up,
Yeah.
and that is next week we've got Tom Grace, the author of a book shot at Kent State, which I am reading, which is amazing. Alex Block, another candidate in Evanston. He's an aldermanic candidate this time. We do have Michael Damani with singing the Jimmy Tillman new song, Black Bags on the Ground. Next week, live from the Heartland. And going out with Nicholas. There it is.
stronger beliefs, stronger relief. Give me a direct line to God. I wanna simplify, I wanna simply die. Away with you, girl, and get lost. I said, you know you are my antidote. You might be my only cure. Yeah, you might be my antidote. Well, now ain't anything worth fighting for, oh man. Yeah. Don't you know, girl? I think that you my antidote. But I really think that you might be my antidote.